proposed solar range development project. First, we will have opening remarks by Paul Briggs, the field manager for the Cedar City Field Office, followed by introductions by the BLM and the applicant. After introductions, we will provide an overview of the variance process and then turn the time over to the applicant to facilitate the Star Range Solar Project overview. In closing, we will share a brief recap from today and any process reminders mentioned during this presentation. Paul, over to you for welcoming remarks.
Thanks, Michelle, and thank you all for attending today's virtual public meeting on the proposed Star Range Solar Project. This meeting is being held as part of the BLM's solar variance process, under which the Cedar City Field Office is considering an application for a solar energy development right-of-way project on BLM-administered lands. We will share an overview of the variance process and the proposed project momentarily. The BLM issued a press release on May 8, 2023 that was not completely accurate. I'd like to take this opportunity to clarify exactly what it is we're doing here today. This meeting is a public coordination meeting and is being conducted to gather information to inform the Utah BLM State Director on whether the BLM should proceed with this solar development application on public lands. This is not a scoping meeting associated with the National Environmental Policy Act, or NEPA, rather a meeting to facilitate coordination of potential environmental and siting issues and concerns. Should the BLM decide to proceed with the project, the BLM will initiate the NEPA process, which will allow further meetings to be held, including public scoping and public comment periods. These will be accompanied by additional press releases and posting on e-planning. Again, thank you for being here today, and we welcome any feedback and comments received during the comment period. Michelle?
Thank you, Paul, for that welcoming remarks. We will start the introductions. Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining the virtual meeting. I am Michelle Campo. I am the Renewable Energy Program Coordinator for BLM's Region 7, which covers Colorado, New Mexico, Utah, and Wyoming. I am based at the Utah State Office, the Region 7 Renewable Energy Coordination Office. As the Region 7 Renewable Energy Coordinator, I support the BLM state and field offices by providing staff with specialized technical expertise to facilitate and coordinate eligible, viable, renewable energy projects. Aaron, over to you.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Aaron Goodman, the Acting Branch Chief for Lands and Realty here at the Utah State Office. Thank you for your participation today.
Hello, good afternoon. My name is Jacqueline Russell. I'm the BLM Color Country District Office Public Affairs Specialist.
Hello again, everybody. I'm Paul Briggs. I'm the field manager for BLM in Cedar City, Utah.
Good morning, everyone, or afternoon. I'm Brooklyn Cox. I'm a realty specialist in the Cedar City Field Office, and I'll be the primary point of contact for this project.
Hi, good afternoon, everybody. I'm also a realty specialist at the Cedar City Field Office, and I will be assisting Brooklyn with this project as we move further down the road. Thank you again for joining.
Well, good afternoon. My name is Stephanie Lauer. I am the Senior Permitting Manager with 174 Power Global and for the Star Range Solar Project.
All right, thank you, thank you. We are going to go over a quick overview of variance areas. Variance areas are BLM administered lands in Arizona, Colorado, Nevada, New Mexico, Utah, and parts of California. When it comes to solar energy development in these states, the BLM administered lands falls into one of three categories. The first category are solar energy zones known as SEZs. SEZs are designated as preferred locations under the 2012 Solar Programmatic Environmental Impact Statement, PEIS, and those are seen as conforming with land use plans. The SEZ areas were built in line with management goals and objectives in the resource management plans. In BLM Utah, we have 3 solar energy zones, all within the Cedar City field office. One has a committed project, and the other 2 have not received any interest due to proximity to transmission and interconnection. The next category are BLM administered lands excluded from solar development. These excluded lands include wilderness areas, natural conservation lands, areas of critical environmental concerns, ACECs, map critical habitat, and about 20 other criteria that make these excluded lands. These are areas where the BLM would rarely, if ever, permit solar energy development rights of ways. The last category, the category we're talking about, is all the remaining BLM administered lands outside the solar energy zones, the SEZs, and not otherwise excluded. These lands may be appropriate for solar energy application on a case-by-case basis, based on environmental considerations, coordination with appropriate federal, state, and local agencies and tribes, and public outreach. This evaluation is referred to as the variance process. If the BLM determines that a project may move forward, permitting would continue under the National Environmental Policy Act, NEPA. If a project moves into NEPA, the public would be provided continued opportunities to participate in scoping and comment periods. The variance process overview. What is a variance application? A variance application is an application for solar energy development on BLM administered lands that falls within lands identified as a variance area. The BLM will look at it for plan conformance with its resource management plan and initiate a hard look for environmental analysis under the National Environmental Policy Act, NEPA. This public process, the NEPA process, is what most members of the public are familiar with. However, today we are focused on an earlier step, a step which is ensuring conformance with the resource management plans or the plans that structure our management approach to public lands. What is the purpose of this outreach? To sufficiently gather information on potential issues and/or barriers and/or opportunities related to a right-of-way application in a variance area, and to collect comments received during the variance process that may be used to inform NEPA, the National Environmental Policy Act process for projects that the BLM decides to continue processing. Our objectives today are to present these proposals to the public, offer a chance for you all to ask questions and to get some answers, and for the BLM to collect comments that can be considered at this early stage of project development. Overview of the right-of-way process. On your screen, you will see a high-level overview of BLM's right-of-way process and how the variance process fits into this. As you can see, additional opportunities to comment will be offered if the project moves forward into NEPA. With that, I will turn it over to Stephanie Lauer with 174 Power Global and her team to talk about the Star Range Solar Development Project. Stephanie, over to you.
Thanks, Michelle. My name is Stephanie Lauer, and I am the Senior Permitting Manager for this project. With me here today is Nick Edwards, our lead project developer, Brian Quinn, our Senior Director of Engineering, Shilpa Topo and Bryson Ellinghouse with our interconnection group, and Hedy Kajwara, our project manager from Aspen Environmental. 174 Power Global is a subsidiary of Hanwha Energy USA. We are among the world's top solar energy solutions providers as a developer, owner, and operator of photovoltaic or PV, solar, and battery energy storage solutions. We have 7 gigawatt hours of battery energy storage and over 1.5 gigawatts of PV solar projects that are currently in operation. Just a high level look at the Star Range Solar Project. We have proposed up to 600 megawatts of PV solar on up to 4,288 acres of BLM land in Beaver County. We are seeking a variance from the BLM that would state that the site is suitable for solar energy development. And as Michelle said, then bring the BLM into the NEPA process. The energy from the project would connect into the existing 345 kV Seagard to Red Butte transmission line. We would access the project for both construction and operations and maintenance via the Lejo Road, which would remain open to the public. The construction timeline for the Star Range Solar Project would begin no earlier than Q2 of 2026 and may be built in 2 phases. Each construction phase would be about 12 to 16 months. There are several advantages of this site for a PV solar project. It has excellent resource potential for solar energy due to its high level of insolation, its high elevation, and very small amounts of fog, haze, or air pollution. The site is undeveloped and it's relatively flat terrain that is ideal to design an efficient solar layout. And finally, it is adjacent to a major transmission line, which then avoids the need to build additional transmission. I'd like to touch on some high-level environmental considerations related to this land and the proposed Star Range project. Related to special status wildlife and plants, we would be conducting field surveys as part of the NEPA process, should this project go forward, to determine habitat suitability and the presence or absence of special status species. Waters of the US, such as wetlands, any potentially jurisdictional waters of the US would be avoided by our site design, or appropriate permitting would be pursued with the US Army Corps of Engineers. Related to the visual landscape, the BLM Visual Resource Management System has already identified this land as either Class 3, which would allow a moderate level of change to the landscape, or Class 4, which would allow a high level of change to the landscape. Cultural resources, we would be conducting a Class 3 cultural resources survey, which is both desktop and field surveys prior to beginning the NEPA process. And finally, this site is located within the BLM's Cook grazing allotment, which has 2 permittees currently. And that's the end of our short presentation. We appreciate your time. Michelle?
Thank you, Stephanie, for that overview of the Star Range Solar Development Project. We will now turn the time over to Brooklyn, the primary point of contact for the BLM on the Star Range Solar Development Project, where she will share a brief recap of any process reminders mentioned during this presentation. Brooklyn, over to you.
Thank you, Michelle. Again, I'm Brooklyn Cox. I'm the Realty Specialist in the Cedar City Field Office and the point of contact on this project. I'm going to be giving you some information on how to submit an official comment. The BLM is seeking public input and comments as part of this variance process for this proposed solar project. The 15-day comment period opens today, May 24th, 2023, and closes on June 8th, 2023. Just a reminder, if the project progresses into environmental analysis under the National Environmental Policy Act, there will be an additional opportunity to comment on this project. Public comments as of now can be sent to me, Brooklyn Cox, by emailing me at bcox@blm.gov or by mail addressed to the BLM Cedar City Field Office to my attention in Cedar City, Utah. You may also drop any written comments off at our front desk. All relevant project information, including contact information, the Q&A summary from this meeting, relevant links, project data, slide decks, and the variance factors analysis report are available on our project e-planning website. Today's recording will also be available on the BLM YouTube channel within 24 hours of this meeting. Thank you everyone for participating today and for submitting questions. If you still need to do so, we invite you to put your questions in our Q&A box and we'll address them accordingly. We'll address them now as time permits. To start with the questions, I think this one is best answered by Michelle. Does the BLM anticipate an uptick in renewable energy requests in the next couple of years?
That is a great question and an important one as well. So we have seen an increase in renewable energy applications on BLM administered lands in the last couple of years. And that is a trend that is still going up, especially for BLM Utah. This aligns with the National Renewable Energy Strategy, based on the administrative goals of a carbon pollution-free power sector by 2035, as well as Congress direction to seek to permit at least 25 gigawatts of solar, wind, and geothermal production on public lands no later than 2025. We are using Executive Order 14008 and the Energy Act of 2020 to reach those goals. Thanks for that question, Brooklyn.
Thank you, Michelle. Our next question I think is best answered by Paul. How does the Cedar City Field Office screen for these variance projects?
Thanks, Brooklyn, and that's a good question. This is the first time actually that we've done this with applications in solar variance areas, but we do have pre-application meetings with applicants. We go over areas that they're interested in, development potential for solar on. We compare them to our existing land use plans and any other resource data that we have. We involve our local interdisciplinary team to help inform that process. And we try to provide proponents with information on areas that we do not have the resource concerns that Michelle mentioned earlier that would preclude us from leasing or moving forward with the development in those variance areas.
Great, thank you. And the last question we have is I think best answered by Stephanie. With your anticipated construction timeframe of Q2 of 2026, how long do you anticipate construction would be, and when do you expect it to be fully operational?
Yeah, Brooklyn, I'm going to direct that question to Nick Edwards, our lead developer.
Hello, everyone. So that's a great question. So our anticipated timeline is obviously contingent upon this process and other processes associated with relevant approvals for this type of project. However, assuming that we go through those processes, we anticipate that we would start the first phase of construction in Q2 of 2026, and we would estimate that we'd reach commercial operations of Q3 to Q4 2027. And the associated second phase of the project would be a little bit after that. So the estimated start of construction for that second phase would be Q2 2027, and an associated estimated COD date of Q3, Q4. That's the commercial operations date of 2028.
Thank you so much for that. Just reading through a couple of the questions. I will probably ask this one to Michelle. Are there other variance projects throughout the state of Utah? And if so, where are they at in the process?
That's a great question, and thank you for that. So BLM has lots of renewable energy solar development applications in the solar PIS amended our land use plans to follow this specific variance process according to that 2012 solar PIS and record of decision. Some land use plans were not amended because there were moratoriums, and there are moratoriums in effect. An example of that is the Fillmore Field Office, and they do not have to go through the variance process because the solar PIS did not amend their land use plans. So we do anticipate potentially having quarterly virtual meetings throughout BLM Utah as they reach that milestone to have variance if the project does fall into variance lands as part of the solar PIS. Thank you for that question.
Great, thank you. Also, the next question I think is best geared towards Stephanie. Why did the proponent seek a variance area instead of the solar energy zone? Stephanie, if you could answer that, and I think Paul might have a follow-up as well.
Sure. I think, yeah, the BLM probably has input on that as well, but the Star Range Solar project site was desirable to us because of the ability to have a really efficient layout and design. And also, especially, we did not need to build an additional transmission line like we would have to the nearest solar energy zone. So it would have had, this site has far less disturbance and impact. So this was our preferred site.
Perfect. Paul, did you have anything you'd like to add?
Maybe just for clarification, so folks know, the nearest designated leasing area or solar energy zone to this site has already been leased by another company, so it's not currently available for leasing.
Perfect, thank you. And I think the last question might again be geared towards Stephanie. Do you have an anticipated location of their solar customers? And would those be on the West Coast?
Yeah, I will direct that question to our interconnection team, Bryson. Or Shilpa.
Hi, it depends on the off-taker for the energy. It could be anybody once the energy is on the transmission grid. It could be Pacific or likely because that's the closest transmission owner to the project, and or it could be anybody who is interconnected and has the is interconnected to the transmission line and can easily have access to the energy. So the energy could flow to whichever part of taker is feasible.
Great, thank you so much for that input. Unfortunately, we are out of time, and I'd like to thank everybody who had submitted questions from this meeting, and they will be summarized and posted on our e-planning website. Please be aware that the questions and answers from this session are not considered comments, and if you have an official comment for this project, please submit them to me through the previously mentioned comment submission venues from now until July 8th. As a reminder, I will be the BLM primary point of contact for the Star Range Solar Project, and Michelle will be the contact for any renewable energy questions within RECO 7. Thank you again for your time, and we look forward to any future interactions.
Hey, Birkin, before we close off, I just want to mention that she meant to say June 8th, not July.
Oh, that one. Yeah.
You're good. No worries. Thank you, everyone, for participating today.